mad axeman of Islington, are you, Cooper?
Got to free up the windows in the attic, miss. Get some air in the house.
Good morning, Father. Very warm morning.
£100, miss. Dr. Bramwell showed me the cheque.
I'm an obscenely rich private patient, Father. Just tea and toast, thank you, Kate.
It's been sent to me to pass on to your infirmary, so less of the curling lip, if you please.
And what if she gave him real money? What would £100 look like, sir?
Fill this room, Kate. Right up to the ceiling.
She?
Mrs. Costigan.
The owner of the brewery?
She wants to support your infirmary on a regular basis.
We shall have to find a way to refuse without insulting her. If the Temperance Society learned that we were being patronised by the owner of a brewery...
She is a perfectly decent woman.
I'm sure she is. I've seen you watching her in church.
No breakfast?
No time. And somehow, we always seem to be standing next to her on the way out.
Who do we know in America?
America? Finn! Father. Father!
Hey, why don't you go burn this nasty... that nasty...
Give
man
it
who's
to
always
me!
trying to look at my daughter's ankles.
He's in a terrible tease this morning, miss. It must be the heat.
Mrs. Costigan, yes, and buy some flowers, will you? Something sweet and simple. It's for a widow just out of mourning.
Right you are, sir. For a poor widow.
Extremely wealthy widow, actually. A small token, something cheerful. Oh, and wait for the note, will you? What has O'Neill got to say for himself?
I'm saving his letter for later. And you're not breathing down my neck, and Kate's big eyes aren't watching me.
Oh, miss, I wasn't.
Eleanor, you're not going to ride that infernal machine today, are you? I mean, you'll die of heat stroke.
Look at them corsets.
Mrs. Hunt, will you wake up, you dreadful creature?
The night nurse with a taste for the bottle.
I despair, Doctor. Surely there's a sober night nurse in London.
I'm sure there is, Nurse Carr.
Help us! Somebody help him!
The doctor! Where's the doctor?
What's the matter?
He's dying. Where's the doctor?
Bring him in here. Someone help me clear this table, please.
Sydney!
Help him! You're all right, boy. We're here now.
Whatever's wrong with him?
He's in pain. Do something. Oh, look at him.
Calm down and try to make some sense.
Hey, Scummy, get off! Get off!
Behave yourself, the poor dog's in
I
agony.
can't breathe. Listen to me.
Quiet, all of you. You're frightening him. There's a good boy. We'll look after you. There's nothing to be frightened of.
It fell in the mashing up the brewery. Do something, then.
I'm Dr. Bramwell. We're going to help you, but you must try to lie still.
He's in agony.
You have to leave him now.
He mustn't die. Please don't let him die.
You've done all you can for him. Now you must let us do our job. Stick to his skin. Use liquid paraffin.
This way.
Unless there are emergencies, Sydney, ask the patients to come back later. Which lotion do you think, Dr. Martian?
Just take a seat, please.
Well, he was just making a new mash. Just closing the vat down. I turned round and in he went. Bloody hell.
Yeah, you said.
I pulled him out. Got to him as quick as I could.
He was lucky you
I
were
did
there.
everything I could. Everything I could.
His face appears to be the worst affected.
Just be grateful that the liquid wasn't any hotter.
The third brewery accident this month, and Mrs. Costigan wants us to accept some of her profits.
What does it matter where the money comes from, as long as it's been put to good use?
Let the brewery support us. We're part of their exploitation.
I wonder if we need to drain this lung.
Proving of drunkenness.
Just take the money, build another ward, and be done with it. Well, treat the bonds and see how he goes.
lad.
Mr. Marshall.
Damn it, we'll need to put him under.
Leave it alone!
I'm going to have a nice gentle sleep.
Dr. Bramwell. I hope I haven't kept you waiting too long.
Mrs. Costigan, good morning. No, not at all. I was determined to thank you in person for your most generous donation. Were my daughter not on duty, she would have been here herself.
I should thank you. Supporting your daughter's infirmary is the most satisfying thing I've done for a long time. Mr. Ross.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I must thank you for your floral gift.
Oh, well, that's a small token.
Not so small and quite unusual. Your personal choice?
Oh, my... Oh, Mrs. Costigan, I'm very sorry,
For a moment, I was completely bewildered, and then I spoke to your maid, and it all became clear.
Ah, Kate, yes.
A sweet child. She said it was for the poor widow, but Dr. Bramwell said it should be something cheerful. She thought pink appropriate.
Well, I will thrash her to the 1 inch of her young life.
Dr. Bramwell.
A new bottle of castor oil, please, Sidney, and you can help Nurse Cast.
How is it, miss?
He's holding his own. What's happened to you? Sidney, why didn't you tell us?
He wouldn't let me, miss. Said he was in no pain.
You must be. What have you done? Were you in the same accident?
You saved him, miss. Fished him out. He burnt himself doing it.
You'd better come with me. Nurse Carr, when Mr. Martin can spare you.
He wouldn't let me say anything. It's not my fault.
Mr. Marsham? Sidney, lift his head. No, lie him down. We'll roll him onto a blanket and drag him through.
Give me a hand here.
We need to separate these fingers if he's going to use them again.
Where is he? What do you want, missus?
My Jimmy.
They said they took him here.
Jimmy? Jimmy?
He's not in there, love.
Oh, God.
Calm down, it's not your boy.
Jimmy? Jimmy?
Jimmy's mother.
Have they brought you my boy? Is he bad?
He's very weak and badly scalded. I'm sorry.
Where have you got him? Why isn't he?
I've no idea. Gently. He's very tender.
No, he was a big, brave lad, eh? They said you was ill, eh? Look at you. You're strong, eh? Brave as ever. I thought I was dead, Mum. It was so hot. I just kept going under. Yeah, don't. I tried shouting. I kept choking. See? Safe now.
Your son has been scalded. But it's superficial, mostly shock. He'll mend. We're taking good care of him.
My manager rules them with a fist of iron. And so do I.
But yours in a velvet glove.
Of course. Or kid, or sometimes silk. Now then, you must have seen enough of this noisy place.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to detain you.
No. I've enjoyed your company. Well, there's more to life than work. Tonight, for example.
Now, what about tonight?
I was hoping that you would tell me.
Oh, tonight? Yes, I'm sorry. I was wondering if you'd do me the honor of dining.
What a lovely idea.
Well, I shall call for you at 7.
I'll be ready. And then what shall we do? Well, after dinner.
Oh. Well, what about the music hall?
Oh, delightful. It will be my first time.
Oh, your first time? Well, you may not enjoy it.
Oh, no. I enjoy everything. The music hall will do me very well. Do you know, Dr. Bramwell, sometimes you simply need to surprise yourself.
Best grade morphine. We can afford it.
Your hands are very bad. The rest of you is no worse than Jimmy. I could do with better light.
I'll fetch your mirror.
Must have been agony carrying him.
I just knew I had to help him. Never thought about it.
You may well have saved his life.
Twice over. You rescued him at the brewery.
So he did. We should have a medal struck for you. You're worse off than he is.
You have to look after the young uns. I got hold of the side, but the copper was so hot, and the more I hauled at him, the tighter I had to hold on.
And still you saved the boy. Very nearly finished. Then we can cover these hands, keep them nice and clean.
Come and get your eyes.
Sydney, when you're better, you'll soon be friends.
You deserve a better friend than that rascal.
Don't worry, I'll see you, all right?
You're being very brave.
You'll be all right, son.
It hurts.
You're looking better than he was.
Is that Mr. Kennedy?
Everyone's all right.
Let's tuck this sheet in and get rid of the creases.
I heard the splash. I couldn't see you. I jumped in. Can't remember nothing else.
You jumped in. Drunkard, you stupid idle drunkard.
No, it was an accident.
They told me about you.
You fell in the brew and he went in after you.
Were you drunk?
No, I'd had a couple, that's all.
You dared to say you saved him.
I did. I grabbed him. I pulled him to the side.
I thought I was dying.
Hadn't been for you, he would have never gone in at all. It's your fault. Stayed my poor boys in. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Dr. Bramwell?
I can't believe my eyes.
I was going to wait patiently, but seeing you has thrown me completely.
Why aren't you in America? Why didn't you tell me?
I wrote. Did I not reach?
This morning. But I was saving it for a treat.
And now I've ruined it.
Get that back.
Shall we stay here as an entertainment for the locals?
We had enough of that devilish brew today.
What are you doing?
I'm sick of the smell of that stuff, and you're far too young anyway. Isn't he, Mr. Marsham?
He is Noscar, but I am not.
She didn't give me a chance to say.
Oh, Mr. Marsham, I had no idea you drank.
Time you discovered the truth. I'm very rarely sober.
I only have one night in London, and then it's 3 weeks lecturing in France.
One night? Where are you staying tonight? How thin you've got. You must come home and have supper. We'll feed you up. But one night. Only one night.
I'm on the boat train tomorrow.
Will you at least stay with us tonight? There's no one in the guest room.
I've taken a room. But that would be very kind.
Nurse! Please! Someone else! He's dead! He's dead! She's doing her nut!
Rapid and thready. He's very shocked. I can't tell if he's breathing.
I should have drained his lungs if he's congested.
Sorry. He kept going under.
How long was he in the vat?
I kept trying to grab him, but I was dizzy. I was all confused.
The boy nearly drowned, and you were not going to tell us.
It was only a couple of minutes. I thought if he'd held his breath.
If he went under and stayed under, Alcoholic poisoning.
Some sort of poisoning, anyway.
What's in the mask?
Hops, yeast, water, I don't know. Help him!
Last car, cardiac stimulant. See what we have.
Is he dying?
No stimulant. He needs water. His heart is failing because he's poisoned, dehydrated.
Help him, Mr. Marston.
Be quiet!
An enema?
No, straight into his veins. Nurse Carl, prepare a saline solution.
Do something!
Go straight to his heart and kill him.
Into a vein, not into an artery. He won't come out of this until we restore his fluid balance. Or would you rather just prepare his shroud for him? Nurse Carl, the largest syringe with the finest needle you can find, please.
A teaspoon of salt and a pint of water.
What can I do?
Just keep out of the way. Take Jimmy's mother out of the waiting room. Come on.
There's a Higginson syringe in the sterilising room.
We'll need a cannula.
Finn, have you ever done this?
No. But where you go, there's less mortals follow. Now, let's see, can we find a nice, fat, juicy vein, shall we?
I'm sorry, boy.
And what are you up to?
His mum said he's 15, same as me.
There's lots of lads the same age as you. If you're going to go maudling every time one needs treatment.
Brats die. All people die. But me and him...
You go on forever, do you? Take his mother a cup of tea.
We're into the venous system. I'm ready. Ensuring we don't introduce any air.
Sorry, Doctor.
There. As high as you can, Finn. If his veins collapse, we'll need to push it through, but they don't recommend it.
It's going down a little, I think.
No sign of swelling. It's not going into the tissue.
Now, are we a clever team, or are we not? When it's this hot in Chicago, the young ladies wear shocking skirts, above the ankle.
The hussies.
Yes.
I'll be right with you.
Eleanor, I can't seem to find the... Good heavens, Dr. O'Neill.
Dr. Bramwell,
Father, I'm sorry, we can't stop.
we shall be with you in a moment.
Yes, I was just... Well, it's good to see you. Can I be of use here, Eleanor? Yes.
Poor Mr. Warrior needs a bedpan. Nurse Carl's rushed off her feet.
Over here.
This young man has plenty of veins to plug into. Do we have another syringe?
2 mains, but with a single thought.
Could you help me, Dr. Marsham?
Maybe it's not large enough.
So am I to be left here like the Statue of Liberty, am I?
Tubing.
And what if my arm falls off?
A very fetching, gentlemanly version of the Venus de Milo. He's doing very well.
Thank you, Mum.
Another visit from the foreman of the brew house.
Dr. Bramwell, I believe 2 of my men were brought to you this morning.
And you care so much about them, you've come visiting.
I've come to find out if I need to get new workers.
I imagine you might. I doubt that Mr. Kennedy will work again in any manual capacity.
It's no loss. And a boy?
Jimmy has taken a deal of liquid into his lungs. And while we hope that he will make a recovery eventually...
Fair enough. Not this week, then. They'll get their wages, 2 days due. And you can tell them they're lucky we're not suing them for contaminating the brew. God knows what they did in it, splashing around.
Not a month goes by without one of your workers being injured. Tell your employers I shall be making a report about this.
Up to you, miss.
Straight to the Borough Officer for Health.
They'll be petrified. He's our chairman.
And Mrs. Costigan. Your insolence is appalling. I shall have you dismissed.
Drunken, lying wastrel. We thought you such a hero.
This is the hero, nurse.
So he is. Poor mite. And he'll never be the same again. How you live with yourself.
I never meant to fall in.
His conscience is punishment enough, Nurse Carr. Your attempts are really not needed.
A soul can't help having an opinion, Doctor.
But if the soul belongs to a nurse, it should keep its opinion to itself.
Very tired. I absolutely agree.
How's the pain?
You won't get no complaints from me, miss. Save the jollop for the boy.
Martyrdom helps no one. If you need morphine, then you should have it. Craftsman, pauper, or drunk. We treat them all equally.
I'm not a drunk, miss. Or if I was, Christ, I sobered up quick.
I just need to know if you require morphine.
I don't need bloody morphine. No more today than any other bloody day, anyway.
Please, don't blaspheme in this ward.
Thousands of gallons coming up to boiling. The sun through the doors. Not a breath of air anywhere. From 7 in the morning till 8 at night. Sweating so that your legs shake and your teeth rattle. 10 minutes walk to the tap. But the beer's there. It's all around us. Yes, I was drunk. We're all bloody drunk most of the time. These hands are nothing. I could stick this pain 10 times over. And I would for him.
Then you must go to your unions. Speak to your employers.
You're a lady, miss. For a minute there, I thought you was a woman. But you're just a lady, after all.
Three weeks lecturing in France, and then it's back to America. I wish I could stay longer.
Well, Eleanor is used to the demands of medicine.
I'm sorry, Finn.
Dr. O'Neill's been very patient. How's the boy?
He's doing very well, but I'd like to see how he is in an hour or two.
What are your plans for the rest of the day?
Well, I have to pick up my luggage from the hotel.
Oh, yes. Father, I was going to write you a note. Finn will stay with us tonight. I'll one cook.
Oh, Eleanor, I'm sorry.
You haven't put one of your patients in the guest room, have you?
I'm very, very sorry.
Well, who can't they wait until tomorrow?
It's not a patient, Ellie. It's just that I won't be at home tonight. I have a prior engagement.
What?
It's something I can't postpone.
No, really. It was only a thought, wasn't it, Emma?
Well, there's nothing in your diary.
I know it's hard, but I won't be home until late. Would be most improper.
Absolutely. Don't give it a second thought.
Wait, Father. You haven't changed at all, have you? You pretend warmth towards Finn, but underneath you still despise him. You're still jealous of him.
That's enough. Look, I accept the fact that one day you will marry him. I even find myself liking the fellow, despite of everything. But his track record is not good.
Or mine, that's what you mean.
I have a duty to you as a father to protect you and your reputation. Now, you can spend the rest of the day together. Why don't you go to a gallery? You both like that. Dinner, maybe? You're making a lot of fuss about something very little.
You're right, of course.
You must be in love. Your tempers do run high in this heat.
Well, have a pleasant evening.
Ah, it's a tedious duty. Bye, darling. Don't you wait up for me now.
The boy will need more fluid, I suppose.
Every 2 hours, I think.
8 ounces in the femur, 4 in the arm, to stop the tissue breaking down.
We'll have to take it in turns to come back and supervise the night nurse.
Well, that won't be easy. We haven't got a night nurse.
Oh, of course. The demon drink again. Well, we need someone here, not just for Jimmy. Mr. Kennedy's in a great deal of pain.
Yeah, well, no more than he deserves. Nurse Carr's got a mother to look after. Sydney's more likely to kill him than cure him, so I'll stay and you can take your young man out.
No. I'll take tea with Dr. O'Neill, sleep for a few hours, and then take over from you at 9 o'clock.
Well...
That way we both get some rest. That's the answer.
And you'll get some sleep.
I promise, if anyone can sleep at all in this heat.
Undoubtedly, accepting that the moment of death hastens towards us all, it would be a privilege and a joy.
Do I smell of disinfectant?
How can I tell? I must reek with myself.
if we leave the memory of the death of Lady Burlington in 1758 behind us,
Sorry?
we come to the green velvet room. As with the blue velvet room and the red velvet room, an apartment generally intended for the display of the most appreciated painting.
You look very nice.
Both mythical
Not at all like a
combustible
doctor.
in their content.
And you look far too
Draw your
handsome to be a
attention to
surgeon.
Dramatic landscapes. We have here
I have an idea, but
views
I'm
of
not
the
sure.
pastoral and immediate surrounds
Tell me.
of this very house.
It all depends on how you feel.
And here, ladies and gentlemen, we meet with the mythology of the Middle East in the shape and form of these two sphinxes.
I keep thinking of our time together at East.
Referring back
too.
to ancient Rome and echoing the Romanesque
The Imperial Hotel. I have a room on the top floor. I'll go first and open the door.
What if someone should stop me?
Who would stop a fine lady like you? Just smile and sweep past them.
Oh, I do love you. Am I a wicked woman now?
You're the dearest. You're everything a man could want in a woman. This is a fine example of neoclassical beauty created in 1869. Her perfect proportions echo
Which one would you place money on? Come with me.
Would you like a nice juicy orange?
Come and get it.
Oh, now, please, Mrs. Costigan, come this way. You must try these.
Eels, fresh eels.
Thank you.
So what does it feel like?
It's cold. It's rather like sorbet. Cool and lumpy.
I win, you owe me a guinea.
Oh, no, not yet.
You won't, you wouldn't dare.
Dare of Bramwell,
Oh.
what's this?
Oh.
Wow.
Nice and fresh, isn't it, sir?
It's wonderful. No, it truly is.
What do they taste like?
It's not like oyster, something like that.
I don't believe a word of it.
Like silk going down your throat, this is.
It's true. Now, come on, say off.
I will not.
And remember what you said about surprising yourself. I'm sorry.
Dreadful man. Dreadful, dreadful man. It is quite revolting.
Well, they're fresh from the sea today, sir.
Lump of ice, missus. Cool your passion. Stop your sweat.
Fresh eels. Only a halfpenny, fresh from the river today.
Try to sleep, Mr. Kennedy.
Can't get it out of my head. I keep seeing it. Trying to see what happened. It's just me and him in the brew house. Shutting the lid on the masher. Next thing I know, I'm in the mash. I can hear Jimmy yelling.
Mr. Kennedy. Jumping in after you. Just made it worse, didn't I?
Hey, give over, lad. It was you and your hollering brought me to my senses. You're a bleeding hero.
I can almost hear your thoughts. You were just going to say, Finn, shall I come to France? Shall we have a holiday together?
Well, Dr. O'Neill, genius. You're completely wrong. My father would never allow it. But I was thinking...
Go on.
Your lecture tour lasts 6 weeks, yes, and then you sail back to America.
I do.
By which time, I promise that I'll have found my replacement at the Thrift, had the bands read, booked the church, chosen my trousseau. I'll get a passage on the same boat. I'll even change your cabin to a double.
And how will we finance all this?
I'll draw on my mother's legacy. My father won't object anymore, I'm sure.
There's still the problem of accommodation. The medical school doesn't provide housing for married lecturers.
But that doesn't matter. I'll take a house in the city somewhere. Not too far. There must be something.
We better get dressed. Get you back to the Thrift.
Don't just... Finn, why are you...
Promise Dr. Marsham you'll be back later.
What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. We have no time for fairy tales, Eleanor. If it was only me and you to think about.
I wouldn't interfere with your work.
You couldn't help it. The responsibility of a wife. But that's not what I'm... Dr. Fraser, my chief surgeon.
Oh, the barrel on 2 legs, yes.
Yes. He has a large family. I dine there once a week.
And it's put you off families for good.
They have been very kind to me. His eldest daughter, Emmaline, has been particularly attentive.
How old is she?
She's just a child. 18.
A little more than a child, then.
Don't deliberately misunderstand me.
You were making love to me not an hour ago, and now you're telling me about an American woman who has been very good to you. What is there to misunderstand?
She is at an age where any male attention assumes romantic importance in her head.
She has a crush on you, is that what you're saying?
It may be more than that. Her parents are ambitious for our friendship.
You're engaged to be married?
No. But there seems to be some sort of unspoken expectation. Assumption. Wait, my shoes.
You don't need them. I'll take myself to the Thrift. The hotel will call me a carriage.
They'll think it's strange.
No. They'll assume I've been in a gentleman's bedroom and think very little of me, but not as little as you do.
That's not true. How can you say that?
When we first met, you were already involved in a divorce case. That's why you went to Chicago. But you claimed innocence, and I believed you. And now here you are, back again and under a cloud, and once again I knew nothing about it until you had taken me to your bed.
You were hardly reluctant, Eleanor.
I'm not 18. I'm a grown woman, and we've done this before, if you remember. Or is it impossible to remember all the women you've bedded?
Don't be ridiculous.
And once again, you're innocent. Good evening. Do you think it will thunder? That would clear the air wonderfully.
Where did you get that sugar from?
Oh, I bought it.
Did you know? You're an incorrigible thief and liar, Sidney Bentley. I give up on you.
You go down the market then and ask old Peggy.
I've got better things to do. No matter what goes on round about you, all you think about is yourself.
He won't touch it.
You don't like rum?
And how would you know? I'll have to go home now, Dr. Marshall.
Yeah, you go and ask Cat.
You don't like rum nor broth? I asked him. He never asked no one nothing. He said 30 years old and all grizzled up.
My word.
He said his ma only feeds him bread and milk when he's poorly. With sugar, Mr. Marshall.
Just when it seems like we're getting somewhere with him, he turns right back into a little hobgoblin.
Sidney Bentley, purveyor of delicacies and sweetmeats, to the gentry.
I don't believe it.
It's this way. You know, in 2 minutes we could be on the high street. We could always hail a hackney.
And what lit all this? How far away is the Thrift?
Well, it's beyond the rotting rubbish. It's past the broken sewer. Now entering my daughter's kingdom. And there she is. Darling, I thought you'd be tucked up in bed by now.
Mrs. Costigan.
Miss Bramwell.
We have no night nurse. I'm relieving Dr. Marsham for the night.
It's damn silly, isn't it?
What are you doing here? I thought you had a prior engagement which you could not possibly postpone, which was of such earth-shattering importance.
Eleanor.
Your father and I have had a wonderful evening at the music hall, and I persuaded him to bring me here, much against his better judgment.
Well, I am unable to persuade him to do anything at all. His duty taking priority.
Mrs. Costigan was concerned about her employees. She would just like to look in on them.
She has no employees in this infirmary. They were both dismissed this afternoon with 2 days' pay.
Good evening. Sorry I heard voices, but I was in the middle of Jimmy's injection.
How is Jimmy?
Constable.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would still like to see them.
Perhaps when Eleanor has had time to consider.
Your daughter does not frighten me, Dr. Bramwell. Through here, is it? Will he be scarred?
Well, he's young. His general health is good. Tissues mend.
Well, that's a blessing.
See you good news, Marsham.
Sidney's asleep in the treatment room. He'll run for me if you need me. Dr. Bramwell, Mrs. Costigan.
Marsham.
Good night.
Your unorthodox method seems to be rather successful. This young man's doing rather well.
And what a blessing, as you say, that he is so young. If the brewery employed infants, their recovery rate might be even more amazing.
How did the accident happen?
I was working hard, Mrs.
Oh, I'm sure you were. You're a brave and good boy.
Even if you are unemployed. Mrs. Costigan, allow me to introduce Mr. Kennedy to you. Mr. Kennedy was your foreman.
I know who he is. Mr. Kennedy.
Ma'am, I'm very sorry about this, ma'am.
How is your mother?
She'll be here in the morning.
Good. I'll see her then.
This is not a railway station open to all.
Mrs. Costigan, I must apologize. My daughter's unwell. Eleanor, you are overwrought and exhausted. Lock the door behind us. Goodbye. You lock the door, and you find your manners.
Morning.
Yours.
I brought you some breakfast from home, Doctor. Put yourself down. If we could get a night nurse to do half what you've done.
I enjoyed it. I was in the mood for hard work. Do you love this, Emmaline?
She is just a child, a silly, innocent child.
And I could never be accused of innocence now.
I was going to tell you everything. I arrived yesterday with every intention of telling you about Emmaline.
Eventually.
You were in the middle of a medical procedure. The boy was dying. Your father was there. The moment had passed.
And you suddenly woke up and found yourself in bed with me. And it was none of your doing. What do you want me to say?
Emmeline's father has great influence.
By God, you're ambitious!
I have no wish to marry Emmaline. But I've been away from you for nearly a year. And before I burned my bridges with both my American patrons, I had to be sure that we were still in love.
And are we?
Eleanor, of course we are. And now I know that, I will deal with Emmaline and Dr. Fraser.
But if I had been a little cooler, you would have waved me a gay farewell and gone off to the next woman in the queue.
A man must marry. And if you had decided I was not your man then, well, I may as well wed her as anyone. You will always be my only love.
You're so strong, Finn, and clear-thinking. But in affairs of the heart, you are so weak. A weak and foolish man. Go and catch your train.
You've done well.
I was delighted to hear that you're recovering. So, I've spoken to the pay clerk, and you'll receive full wages until you return to work.
What if he ain't able to go back, Ma'am?
His lungs have been damaged.
Well, then we'll find him a job in the offices. How would you like to be a clerk, Jimmy?
Oh, I can do numbers, Mum, but I can't let her.
We could arrange for you to receive lessons while you're here. He'll be with us for some time.
Well, thank you. There, all fixed. I'd better leave you to get some rest.
And Mr. Kennedy?
You will take your wife and family and leave your cottage by the end of the month, and I will never see you again.
Please, missus. I won't do it again.
We do not tolerate drunks at the brewery. You should have been responsible and thought of your poor family.
You bitch.
Mr. Kennedy.
You don't give a stuff about my family. I've worked for you for 13 years. My girls died last year. Diphtheria, the both of them. My wife couldn't stand the pain. She walked out months ago. And you asked me to think of my family. I can't think of anything else.
Mrs. Costigan. I am sorry, but while we all understand the need to discipline Mr. Kennedy...
If you are going to ask me to let him keep his house, I'm sorry. It's impossible. The new foreman will need it.
But where will he go?
I must protect my other employees, people like Jimmy.
Life is very harsh for your workers. I'm sure he wasn't the only man drunk that afternoon.
He was the only one who nearly drowned a young boy.
But to lose his children...
Punish him by giving him a menial job, but let him stay on at the brewery.
All my employees know that if they are intoxicated at work, they are dismissed. I can't make exceptions.
Even after years in your service?
Dr. Marshall may go too far. Mrs. Costigan is in a very difficult position.
No, Dr. Bramwell, it's all right. Even then, I'm sorry. Miss Bramwell, I wonder if you would, for Mr. Kennedy,
£5.
I am not a cruel, unfeeling employer, and I know that £5 will not last long, but I really have no choice. I hope that you will find a way of accepting my patronage, too.
I wish we could. We do need financial help, but I find it hard to see how medicine and alcohol could ever be compatible.
You haven't met any Harley Street surgeons, then. Every one of them inordinately fond of brandy.
We will discuss your very generous offer. My father, Dr. Marsham, and I.
Good.
Try to get some sleep this afternoon, Eleanor.
Yes, I'm going home now.
Well, you take a cab. There's a storm breaking. Oh. I miss saying goodbye to Dr. O'Neill. I suppose he's on his way by now.
Yes, I suppose so. Nurse Carr would call this tainted money.
Nurse Carr's a self-righteous prig. Sometimes.
But maybe Mrs. Costigan would do more good if she gave less money and a little more compassion.
So would we all. Compassion and forgiveness, the rarest of gifts.
Your luggage is on board, sir. Minutes.
Mr. Kennedy, wait. Mr. Kennedy, the Thrift has a fund for patients in need. This is for you. Please take it.
Give it to Jimmy.
But you must need it.
What for? If she comes back, there'll be strangers in the house. She'll have lost everything.
Then you must take it to help you make a new start.
No. All I want is my missus. You give it to the boy.
Boy, it's 1 penny, please. Thank you much, sir.
Travel safely.
I will. Eleanor. Thank you.
No more confusion, no more misunderstandings.
Never again. I will write to the Frasers tonight. Put it all straight. I will tell them I am engaged to marry Dr. Eleanor Bramwell.
When?
Sir, you're going to miss your train.
I'm coming. Hold the door for me. As soon as we can, sweetheart. We will arrange it when I next see you.
Will we?
From my life, heart and soul. And then we'll announce it to the world.
Go.
I will buy you the biggest and best ring in Paris. I promise. Diamonds or emeralds or what?
Nothing, just you.
See you next month.
Yes, I love you.